I can't believe they came back. We're here today with Connected by Water podcast presented by Joey Cardi, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and fueled by Papa's Pilar Rum. I'm your host, Dennis Friel. Thank you for the advice. All right. And I'm here again with part two of our maestros here, Captain George Poveromo and Paul Castronovo, the Great. And we have...
it says it on my business card.
Right.
The Great, yeah.
Right? So we have...
I'll tell you, didn't we do this like a month ago, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they
like
invited us back.
Me too.
The ratings must have been good.
So we're adding a layer to the show today. For the first time ever in the history of the show, we have our guest bartender, which, drumroll please... Marcy Mock.
Yes.
How are you?
There you go. I'm great. I'm ready. Y'all ready?
Yeah, we are ready.
Should I start pouring?
Why don't we do this at night, like on a Friday?
Wait,
This is
you're
on you.
complaining. I told you at the last meeting.
I like starting at 5.
He used to do this thing at 10 in the morning.
But it's
For 3 in the
freaking
afternoon,
Monday.
I made your
But
change
last
for
time
him.
you asked me to start earlier.
I understand, but it's Monday. If I start drinking on a Monday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where's my week going from there?
Your week's heading south.
We like to start it up right around here.
Lucky didn't know when he had these at 10 in the morning.
But by the way, if you said, hey, we're going to do this on a Friday night at 5 o'clock, I think we'd have some laughs, and then we'd end up at Cafe Max down the street for dinner. And I might even pick up the tab.
Well,
Are you good with that, John? Friday night at 5 o'clock?
It would never
All right,
end.
yeah.
This
Well,
would be
that's
like an
right.
ongoing
Yeah,
24-hour marathon.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Blog.
That's your call. We can do that.
Next one.
Next one. All right. Friday night at 5 o'clock.
All I hear is ice being put into cups.
It's like-
Turn off
That's
your
why I'm
mic.
here.
So
That's hilarious.
That sounds like a 427 Ford running on low octane fuel.
You guys, can we talk about fuel for a second?
Please.
So, since there's no real formal start of this thing.
None whatsoever.
I burned all of it on Saturday.
Looking for fish.
I was talking to you guys know Bryce from Blue Moon. Anyway? Yeah. Okay. So he's like, dude, you got to go up to the Juneau Ledge. There's big fish up there. My son comes home from college. He's got 6 fraternity brothers. By the way, I made them all get tested before they came to my house. God knows what these guys got.
Right.
Not COVID tested, STDs. but I'm like, and the pressure's on. So my son AJ, he's a big fisherman, and myself, we're like, all right, we're gonna run to the Juneau Ledge, and unfortunately, it started blowing a little bit Saturday, so we started working our way north, and we came out. The water was beautiful right in front of Boca Inlet. We did a quick drift, caught a kingfish. All right, then fished a little while, nothing. We started moving north. Martini glass, a little further north, Point Inlet. Then before I knew it, we were north of the breakers, and it was just awful.
Yeah.
Bonitas, 2 kingfish, and about 10 cutoffs. Now, the kids are from out of town. They were having a good old time catching bonitas and stuff, but I keep waiting for the spring to start.
Any day.
Right.
That's what someone said to me yesterday. They go, any day now. I'm like,
See, the trick to this whole thing is you don't want to be in a position where you
There you
hear
go. Thank you, Marcy.
all these big kings are being caught. That's like yesterday's headlines. You want to be out there when all the headlines are being made and making the headlines.
aha. Problem is when you're a
Thanks,
week.
Marcy.
welcome.
What do we have in
Don't
here?
forget to have one yourself.
We're
What do we
doing
have?
well since we don't have any lines. It is not a Cuba Libre,
Yeah.
so no
Okay.
Cuba Libre for you guys. But it is a straight up rum and
We'll go
coke,
without the
so it's good.
citrus.
Heavy pour, very nice.
The way it's supposed to
Monday,
be.
Awesome.
special Monday heavy pour.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you very
problem
much.
The problem is when you're a fisherman and a weekend warrior as a day job, you don't get to go out all the time. So I do like the spring because those tunas show up late in the afternoon, and one of the things I'm famous for is going out 4 o'clock, coming back by 7:30. A couple of tunas, you're down at 30. You don't.
The late bite's my favorite time to fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dennis Forgione once told me, he said, I don't know why they have these fishing tournaments that start at 8 a.m. lines in and lines out at 3. Those are the worst hours. He goes, you should do a fishing tournament that starts at 5 a.m. and then to 8, and then we all go back in and take naps and then fish the end of the day. That was not a bad idea because that's when that's...
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
waiting. I'm
I had a
waiting.
really good weekend, though. I did actually a very special experience this weekend. So Mike Lamb, owner of the Island Rover, the 68 Merit that was just purchased, right? He's a friend and a client here at the studio. He calls me up and he says, Dennis, we're going to have a boys trip today or tomorrow. And he goes, I'm bringing my son. Roy Merritt's going to bring his grandson. Art's going to captain. And he goes, we'd like you to come bring your son. You got a couple of my buddies bringing their sons. So we had basically a father-son day.
Nothing like it.
My kid's 7. His kid's 10. Like, these are like little kids.
And what day is this?
This is Saturday.
I'm dying to know how much they caught compared to what we caught.
We only put one kite up because we got a bunch of little kids and everything like that, and we just caught couple bonita and stuff like that. So we pulled down the kite and we ran to a wreck, and we just had snappers and triggers just biting for the kids to just.
How deep a wreck?
It wasn't that deep at all. I think it was only about 80 to 100 foot wreck. Yeah, and
anchored.
No, drifting. Art's just drifting us around, keeping us on top of the wreck the whole time, and and we're just laying flat, from the bonita that we caught. We just stripped it up and just put the hooks back.
Well, no, it's good to know that Art also struggled Saturday because all you want to hear is because I started looking online on Instagram and all the local boats. I'm like, okay, no, nobody caught fish. And then yesterday
was a slow day.
Yesterday was a full moon, and I don't know what it is about the full moon. This is a good question. Ask George. I my whole life when I don't catch fish, I blame the full moon.
Sure,
except the mutton, who tend to bite on the moon. But what is the reason?
Well, it goes back. You just hear the conversations that go way back that, well, it's bright at night. They feed more at night versus the daytime. But, you look at the leading up to it. You look at like right after too. You still have the periods of brightness. So that might have something to do with it as well. But, I would just look more towards like when the moon is directly over, directly under, those lunar type periods throughout the day to try to time your bites on that.
Do you tape your TV show during a full moon ever?
Yes, because we have such a schedule and so many shows to get in that you really can't sit and pick the perfect scenarios because too many shows, you might get blown out of one show. You got to make it up somewhere else. So in a lot of cases, you have to take what you could get. And the show that we caught the biggest wahoo, the 143-pound, 6-ounce wahoo. Like I said, was keeping
there he is
score.
Talking about it again.
Got to get that 6
That's
ounces
like me with
in.
my name dropping.
That was caught on the full moon.
Oh, it was. Well, but the wahoo bite is
on the full.
Yeah.
And then also it was, speaking of Papa's Pilar, it was not last season, the season before, they had asked me to take a group of their representatives out fishing. So we had a meet at Hallover, and this was this time of the year, and it was around the full moon. So we go up, we put, we started to run out, look for dolphin first, the early arrivals. And it was just terrible water, terrible conditions. We had one small dolphin. So I said, let's go back in. We have goggle eyes, we got pilchards. Let's put the kites up because the water was so terribly ugly all the way out offshore. So let's go dirty water work structure. So we set up a drift. Fishing kite goes up, and we just got the third bait off the one kite, had the flat lines out, and we were doing something. We weren't paying attention, but the close goggle eye rod, boom, gets hit off the kite. The rod bends, so we give it to unfortunately, gave it to the right person in that Pilar team. And he hooks up. It's going straight down. So we got a blackfin, or let's have fun with a blackfin. Then the blackfin starts moving around the back of the boat and starts, heading towards the east. It's all right. And then all of a sudden that reel, whoa, just starts smoking. Up comes a blue marlin.
Oh, God.
So a 20-pound test pen. So I told my buddy Carl, start getting those lines, move the kites. We're going to run. We're going to get this fish. Let's just charge after him. We could get to the leader. We had a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader.
Oh, my goodness.
Chased the fish down and actually got him on the actual leader twice. It was about 100, maybe 130-pound blue marlin that had eaten and got the release on that fish. So we go set up again and put the kites up. And no sooner we got the second bait in, sailfish eats it. So we release the sailfish.
How deep of water?
The blue was hooked in 320 feet of water.
So you were out there.
And the sail was also hooked around at 300 because we were setting our drift up to go. We had like an east wind from offshore to inshore. So we scored a blue marlin and a sailfish off Miami, believe it or not, live baiting on the full moon, basically this time of the year.
My theory's just been shot all to hell.
Right.
So it's interesting, though, because while we were struggling, and all the guys that were kite fishing were struggling, even Bobby Boyle, I was calling him, and it was the guys that were planer fishing were catching fish. This is the latest in Pompano, Lighthouse Point, Boca area, Fort Lauderdale. The planer guys are putting a lot of fish in the box. I don't know if we're getting better, if they're getting better at it. You're covering more ground.
There's part of the problem is that we all seem to get in this groove or rut to go after certain species of fish. So this time of year, you're staying in close for your sails for the big kings and the blackfins. So when you're working at strategy, you tend to just beat it out. And if you had the flexibility, or if more people figure, okay, well, the conditions aren't right for this, let's wait till late afternoon, like you talked about. Let's go ahead and make that run way offshore. Let's try to pick up a piece of floating debris. Let's get on a weed line and go more on a troll. I've always said that trolling around this area has become a lost art compared to what it used to be. So many people are ingrained now with the live baiting and doing this and working that swath where live baiting is most productive.
120 to like 250 to 100.
They've gotten away from the trolling. And when you're on the troll, you could look out or seek out better conditions. And when those baits go out, there's no telling what you're going to get from dolphin to a marlin.
I've
to a
caught some
tuna.
of my biggest dolphin of my life on the troll.
Oh, likewise.
Same here.
Yeah.
So that's, I think people need to sort of break that stereotype, get a little more flexible and have like two distinct plans. If it's not happening the first couple drifts in the morning and the conditions permit you to do the long run and gun and look for things, get out there and then get on the troll.
I usually don't start my offshore run and gun stuff till a little later on. Because I think the big dolphin tend to be inshore this time of year.
Sometimes you wait. It's traditionally speaking, if you get a hard east wind and where that stream is moving in, yes, they tend to migrate and be closer in, but you're still like find a big pallet or something offshore or a nice weed line that has to fish over there too. And if you wait till too late, you gamble there, somebody else could have been on those fish, beat them up already. And, that dolphin, if you're committed to that, that's always, in my opinion, been a very super early thing in trying to beat most of the boats out to get where you need to go.
One of the unique things, too, about our guest bartender over there, too, I wanted to bring up, she adds another element to all this, too, because she's a free diver. Right?
Yes.
I am.
So,
free diving and spearfishing.
So what's your process for actually finding fish?
If I can get out, that's me finding fish. That's pretty much it.
So are you looking for fish on the troll, or are you just like diving
free
spots
diving
that are
and
marked?
stuff?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't do any trolling when you're free diving. You're usually in the water.
So you're not going for pelagics, really. You're going for more like reef fish.
more reef fish and stuff like
but
that.
But spearfishing is cheating. That's for people who can't catch my rod and reel.
We've had this discussion many times, and he does not like us. Yeah, because we can actually go down where the fish are. So he thinks that's completely.
That's sort of,
So
but he doesn't understand that holding your breath for more than a minute and trying to hunt down there is not exactly the easiest thing.
I'm also with you on that. I'm a big fan of spearfishing, and
it's really hard.
It's funny. I get down to like 30 feet, but the fish are at 50.
Exactly.
You really have to get
I prefer to look at fish at 30 feet on my Simrad machine.
You've seen what's down there. You don't want to get in the water with it.
I've seen too many.
Well, we got a lot of, especially now with the shark situation now so thick now. Are you running into problems with that right now?
I've never run into any problems with the sharks, but you do see them. You just have to be very, very vigilant and keep your head on a swivel.
I will show you my
always,
son's flipper.
Let me say this: dive with a buddy.
Yeah,
really.
Right.
Never, ever, ever dive by yourself.
Extremely
extremely.
My kid and his
important.
buddy were diving, and we were sitting on the boat. My buddy and I were letting the kids, and I hear Dad, and they motor back to the boat. Comes back in, he pulls his flipper off. It's got teeth marks in it, and they were kicking him.
That's close.
It was following. It was like
when was this?
Bimini 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Bimini. That's
in Bimini is where you really find a lot of the bull sharks and stuff like that. Once you start,
not a fan of those.
Yeah, once you start having blood in the water, you really have to be careful because they will show up.
When we dive the gingerbread grounds, we'll get out in that neck of the woods. It's great because it's shallow and it's beautiful.
That's loaded with sharks.
Yeah. Well, so as soon as we spear a fish, we pick up and we move like 100 yards down the reef.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of a story that's offshore, my good friend and fish partner, Carl Grassi, who one day we'll bring him in. He's got some intriguing fishing stories. He'll be your first guest when I'm guest number 7, my 7th appearance.
That was great. Yeah.
But he, last summer, had his daughter and some friends out, and they were running a gun for dolphin. He said, I'm way out there in the blue. And my daughter says, Dad, shut down. I just want to go ahead and just cool off. And so he stops the boat. He said, I'd no sooner hold my boat in the neutral. There's not fishing. They were running. She jumps over to cool off, and he looks, and he said it wasn't more than 15 seconds, 20 seconds later, he sees a big shadow come up underneath her, and he's screaming, get to the boat, get to the boat.
Jeez.
And she's looking, and it was a big shark. It actually brushed up against her, and he got her into the boat.
Wow.
He said, what are the odds?
That he stopped right there, and there was a shark
He said, I wasn't on the reef. He says, I was out 10, 12 miles. And it just pulled the boat back. He said, it's like something was in the air. I heard that boat shut down. and gravitated to it. So it's a big shark, and he said, that's a heck of a story he told.
I almost forgot one thing really quick.
Uh-huh.
Are you guys comfortable? You guys are comfortable.
I'm always comfortable.
Are you going to make us uncomfortable?
I don't like that demonic
brought a
look.
present.
You got a demonic look.
I got it. Hold on. I almost forgot one thing. I brought it.
A present? Oh, he's going to give me that Marlin painting. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
No, he's going to start you with the tarp.
Well, I'm more of an offshore guy.
Cheers. Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Listen, thank you, Marcy.
Hey,
Cheers.
Marcy, I didn't mean to be rude, but you ruined I like Papa's on the rocks. Coca-Cola, God bless it. Oh.
I will hook you up. I will hook you up.
Why? I don't understand. Why did you bring me my shower chair?
I just learned about this. He told me the story. Okay. Did you know about Paul's shower chair? And I said, no, I don't like to get that personal.
Paul, do you like the dark or the margarita, or does it matter?
The dark's fine.
The dark?
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
There goes your
I just figured if you didn't like that chair, I know you prefer these clear ones. And
what an asshole! That's hysterical.
I would just bring. I just was thinking of you.
All right,
that's
can
all.
I at least tell the backstory here?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So my wife had like an arthroscopic knee thing done, and she was, for a few days she was, laid up, and she's like she needs a shower. And I go, why don't I put a little chair in the shower for you so you can? Oh, there you go.
That's
the
better.
one. Please take the Coca-Cola.
I don't know what I'm just going to do.
Sugar. Salute.
I actually like mine on ice too.
Oh,
that'll help me
I
later.
just want you to,
So I'm glad I'm not the only one with the plastic ghost. What's it called? Lewis ghost chair.
I really don't.
It's worth $400.
It almost looks like that glass slipper in Cinderella a little bit, doesn't it?
So I put the chair in the shower for my wife to take a shower with, and that way, whatever.
Cups.
So then I took a picture.
The Papa Pilar cups.
Is she mic'd?
Yeah, she's mine.
Does she not know she's mic'd?
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
So where was I?
We run a tight operation around here, Paul.
yeah.
You're coming back from your seventh interruption. But go ahead.
Anyway, I took a picture of it, and I posted it on. I said, I think I'm onto something here. It's the most relaxing shower I've ever had as a joke, and now the internet blows up. Castronovo is like a 90-year-old man who needs a freaking shower chair, and this is the actual chair. I feel vindicated that I'm not the only person that likes a good, clear acrylic chair.
So full disclosure, I put out on Facebook, I'm like, I need a plastic chair for this episode. And my buddy Red Clark, I have to give Red Clark full credit. He goes, I got one. And he said, I'll stop by the store. Coincidentally brings the same exact chair. I kid you not.
It's missing one thing.
What's that?
A gimbal.
Or when you think about if someone's showering in a chair that's clear, the view underneath is interesting.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you came on the wrong day. Did you transfer out too?
I was always like you. I drink Pilar on ice.
Yeah.
I don't like mixing it with Coca-Cola because I can't sleep at night.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Salute.
Thank you for that. That's really funny.
Yeah, I figured, I just want to make sure you feel at home
I'm going
here.
for a 20-mile bike ride in about 2 hours.
I was about to say,
this
you're
ought
going to
see
be
good.
this bike going like this all over the place.
Just a little bit. Doesn't hurt.
No.
I did a little day drinking over the weekend.
Really?
In that having my kid back, and my wife and I were just hanging out poolside after we fished. And boy, I tell you what, I made a big old Papa's with a little coconut water. Because I needed to hydrate, of course. And I put in a Yeti tumbler, and I got on the raft in the pool, and I fell asleep. And it was like,
in the pool?
In the pool,
in
on
the
the raft. I was cooked. But it was awesome. I haven't done that in years. It was great. I mean, but then you have to take a nap, and then you're all screwed up. Because day drinking, unless you keep going, there's a fine line. Like if you day drink starting, like someone said to me recently, how do they phrase it? Because they opened up a beer at 7:00 in the morning on the boat. I go, God, that's early for a beer. And then he goes, well, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Or it's a light drinker. You start drinking as soon as it gets light out.
Right. But anyway, when we go to Italy and Europe and stuff, we like to start drinking early on, like with Aperol spritzes.
We're not going to get in this Italy-Sicily comparison again, are we?
Did we do that already?
We did the last show. We already had that one there.
And then anyway, so then it comes like 4:00.
George told me after you left that he won the argument.
He probably did.
I know I did.
Then at like 4 PM, if you've been drinking since 11 or 12, it's like either you nap or else you're done for the night. So what Anthony Bruno from Anthony's Runway 84 and Coal Fire Pizza says is, you do a shot of a double espresso at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and that takes you through so you can start the wine and keep it going until at least 11 o'clock.
I don't think my stomach could be able to handle
give you
that.
a heart attack.
And then you drink grappa. Then you drink grappa at the end of the night, and then
Grappa at the end.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
A little aperitivo after dinner, and then you wake up the next day going, "Why did I do that?"
Right. And this one over here, the Cubans over here, like you guys are a bunch of lightweights.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I have a comedian, Dom Herrera, once told me. He goes, I thought I had a drinking problem until I went to Ireland. He's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And he's like, I got to go back to the hotel. Keep drinking, you pussy. You know, like, it's 2 a.m.
Did you have a good St. Patty's Day, by the way? Did you do anything?
No,
you didn't do anything.
How about you?
Yeah, well, we were here. You know, but we had our grand opening, you know, which was fun. You know,
Did you get a nice crowd?
We had a lot of people.
Did they spend a lot of money?
We did very well that day. Yes, we did.
You sell artwork? I mean, do people come in and buy a beautiful painting?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Absolutely. No, we sold a lot of artwork that day. We sold a lot of
everything in it that he does is beautiful.
Yeah, so we're still trying to replenish our stock after that. So we did great.
So what are you in the back room like? I already paid.
No. I tell you, I'll be honest with you though. Like we had so many people here, and it was so good. Like people I haven't seen for years. Had like my high school, one of my teachers from high school showed
that's
up.
Cool.
And he shows up, and let me. Backstory, this is very much a Mr. Holland's Opus kind of story, right? With this guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mr. Kubis. You're familiar with Gibbons. All right. So anyway, Mr. Kubis is one of those teachers that inspires his students to go on and do great things. He's well known for this, right? But he always wanted to work for Disney. That was like his big thing. And he wanted to be an Imagineer, and he's just never able to make it happen. He applied for years and just never, he even worked at the Disney store part-time to figure he might be able to get into a back door. Never happened, right? He saw me. He always wanted me to work for Disney. Wasn't in the cards for me. It wasn't really my thing.
I always wanted to.
I just always wanted to just paint fish, you know? But before I graduated high school, one of my college entry portfolio pieces was a picture of my hands painting or drawing Mickey Mouse, right? And I used it as my portfolio piece, and I gave it to him before I graduated as a gift. He comes walking in.
With that
at our grand opening with that picture framed and matted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He goes, look
So he
what
gave
I've
it to
kept
you?
after all these years. No, he goes,
He
look
kept-
what I have.
wow,
He
to show
wanted
and
to
tell.
show it to me. Yeah.
That's
so
pretty
this
amazing.
is
Great
a
story.
mountain of a man. He's huge. Like he's like you guys put together. Like he's like
What is he suggesting?
Yeah. Very, very large man.
Well,
anyway,
I don't know what he means by that.
I kind of teared up a little bit when he walked in the door. You know, it was a really great moment.
You think about really, I guess, how you progressed throughout your career, and that you had somebody like him that actually followed it and actually saw this whole transition.
I haven't seen him in 20 years.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it was a moment, man.
I
It
have
was
a
a moment.
great teacher story. So I was an artist growing up as well. And
Really?
yeah, I almost
didn't
went to
know
the
this.
Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. I'm a cartoonist.
Get out of
Wow.
here.
I won
We never
Annie
knew
Awards
that.
with my
Really?
cartoons. Yeah,
What?
yeah, I have.
Why am I just finding out about
Because
this?
I chose to go into radio and not art.
I'm sitting here waiting for the punchline.
No, it's all
I
very
got
true.
to see the results of this.
Right,
I'll
where's
send
the
you some of my
proof?
Yeah,
stuff.
please do.
Where's the
So
proof?
I remember in my 8th grade art class at Lake Worth Junior High, Clarence Mazzell was the teacher, and he was an inspirational teacher. Like, it's nice to have those guys. And we used to argue about the radio. And we were little kids, and we were like, we want the top 40, you know. And he always played WSHE radio, the cool rock station. And we hated it. And he said in that class, and I'll never forget it, he said, you guys might hate this music now, but someday you're going to thank me for playing this. Fast forward about 15, 20 years, I'm doing an afternoon show on WSHE radio, and I'm answering the request lines. And I go, hey, you're on the air. And he goes, this is Paul Castronovo? I go, yeah. He goes, it's Clarence Mazzell, your old art teacher.
Oh.
Do you remember the day that I told you that I got goosebumps thinking about it.
Wow.
Yeah, and years later. So he was right.
That's great.
Wow.
That's great.
Right.
You know, it's really so great when the people that laid that foundation and you really kind of come back full circle and remind you, hey, remember that? That's.
But I didn't know what to do with my art. And I remember in my senior year in high school, I was really getting good and I was really into it a little bit. And I said, I want to go to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. I want to become an artist. And my father was like, what are you going to do? Draw furniture for modern age in the newspapers?
Yeah.
And there was no money in it. So we went down to the Art Institute. Now, at that time, I graduated high school in 78. And I'm sure you did too, somewhere in there.
76. I am older.
Nice. Anyway, so the artist, the artist, or did he? The Art Institute was right above the button on the beach in Fort Lauderdale, which was
the button south.
heart, not the button south.
Oh.
The button on the beach. It was before the button south, and they had.
Wow.
It was a raucous. It was spring break. My parents, God bless them, they didn't drink. So we get down there, and it's like, as soon as I go, I think it's in this building, and the door to the button south opens up. Someone gets punched in the face. Bodies are flying, beer, and I'm like, yeah. And then my dad goes, get in the car. We drove back, and you're going to a real college. I ended up at UF and studied broadcasting, which I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live, but they didn't offer that class, so I ended up doing what I do. But I always wanted to do art. Disney was a fascination of mine. I thought I want to be an Imagineer. I just don't know what kind of money those guys made.
That was, when I went to Ringling, which is in Sarasota.
Hell yes.
Yeah, which is a direct path to Disney.
Yeah.
Going to that school. So I had that laid out in front of me if I wanted to go there and work for Disney and do that and everything. I really just chose not to.
Do you have Disney Plus?
Yes.
Because there's some really neat animation stuff.
Well,
1,000%. I'm infatuated with imagination.
I'm going to jump in here too
I
because
love Disney and everything.
Paul doesn't know this, but it's a Friel story that I learned. It might have been my second or third visit, fourth visit, over here. That he is actually an artist for the U.S. Mint. That I never knew that on money. Mm-hmm. That he.
Yes, please.
So we're printing our own money now?
Yes, we are. We'll talk after the show. We'll talk after the show, Marcy.
I showed up with bags
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
of $1 bills, asking if he could change the denomination on them, and I haven't pushed it over the edge yet.
Yeah, but we don't work in paper. We work in coins. Yep.
How often do they come up with a new coin?
A lot more than you think. So not only are we responsible for doing currency, we're there's limited edition dollar coins, there's congressional medals of honor, and anything that runs through the United States Treasury, presidential medals of honor. Anytime.
But you're involved in all those designs.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what really impressed me.
One of 27 artists in the country that work on these projects.
That's amazing.
That's really cool. Are you on Wikipedia for that?
No, actually, to be honest with you, I'm so limited as to what I can actually even say about it. Like, I probably can't even talk more about it than what we're already talking about right now.
We're all going to get picked off now.
It's very.
It's like I got a buddy who's a writer.
You might be hosting his podcast next month when he's gone and pissing.
Right.
My buddy Brad Meltzer, who's a writer, he writes novels and stuff. He's like,
thank you,
one
Marcy.
day, I don't know why I was Googling something, and I found out that he writes Superman. I mean, like, you write Superman comics. That's huge, That's,
really?
Yeah, that's
kind of
cool.
Like
this, like your little neat thing that you do.
Down in L.A.?
He's here.
Oh, he's just here right now from here. Yeah.
He lives in Hollywood. Yeah,
that's awesome.
You just never know all these little type of industries that since we're not involved with, you really don't know.
George is a hand model. A lot of people don't realize that.
But there's always a fish attached to him.
That's good. True.
Right.
Do you do this technique where you hold the fish way out in front of you in the photographs?
No, and see here. Okay, now he opened up
He
a
doesn't
can of
have to.
worms.
I do.
All right, he opened up a can of worms, and I'm going to throw this out here.
Please do.
Is one of my pet peeves in the industry and coming up. Okay, first off, this is our 21st year on national television. Every single show that I've done, every single fish that you see being caught by myself or my guest angler was caught by myself or my guest angler. We work for it. There are shows out there, saltwater too, where they let the camera boats fish.
No.
They get hooked up.
Give me
The
names.
rod's over.
Give me names.
I'm not going to give you any names. Another Pilar or two I might, but they pass the rods off, or they'll have people hooking, passing it off, and I look at that, and to me, that constitutes fraud. Now let's change.
I agree with you.
Let's go to the bass fishing industry.
Oh, I've heard these stories.
The bass fishing ones are the worst.
Don't they go out with like 10 bass in their live well?
Okay, here's the scenario, and I'm not covering all of them. I'm sure there's some really super good ones. But Paul's a bass guy, okay? He's a local guy that works out of Everglades Holiday Park, let's say. I'm a bass pro. I have a TV show. Paul, let's do a show together. And he's all excited. Absolutely. I said, what date do you have open? I have April 1st. Okay. Give me from 8 in the morning till noon to do a show. Okay, wonderful. That's all he needs, a half a day.
4 hours?
But I want you to make sure we're going to use your boat as the camera boat. I'll bring my sponsored boat in. I want you to pre-fish, pen these bass up. When we show up, I want them in the live well of your boat, which is going to be the camera boat. And they'll take these fish out and fabricate the catches. So when they're done there, I might look at Dennis. Dennis, you're a peacock bass guide out of Hialeah. I'm going to wrap up with Paul at noon. I could be down your way at 2. And I'm going to book you. Let's go from 2 till the sun drops. And I want you to go pre-fish. We're going to use your boat as a camera boat.
You know this for a fact?
100%.
Wow.
And I'll tell you even one bizarre that I know beyond that. And you load up the peacock bass. So then they go down to Hialeah and you fish. And they got the peacock bass. So they wrap up 2 shows in a day, pen fish, and one bass superstar has, those bear traps that when you step on it and they go like that?
Like in Looney Tunes?
Yes. They have a bear trap where the sides have like sheets of wood. And on the trigger, they have a chute that comes up. And they'll place that under the surface in the reeds. Man, that looks like a good spot. Let me get that lure worm right there. And they throw it in. And the camera
like a bass is blowing up the bait?
And they'll trip. They'll trip the chute. And the bass.
Oh my God.
And the trap goes up underwater. All you see is a big boil. And they cut.
How come this hasn't been blown up?
Because I think that's
I think George
common.
just blew it up.
No.
Yeah, right.
That's common in the environment. And so it goes back to what you're saying with fish pictures.
Breaking news.
And all of a sudden somebody wants to take some pictures. So they take, it was caught on, say, a live bait. They'll stick a lure in its mouth or a bucktail.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That to me is fraud. And that's why you got me going. Is I feel very strongly, what you see happening with us is what we did. What you see the still pictures coming in with us is exactly what we did.
And I can attest to that.
I love the fact, I love on your show.
Work.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You lay it all out on your show. You really did the good and the bad. You know what I mean? Like the misses, even trying to unhook a fish. If a fish falls on the deck, you're like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? That's because that's how it is.
The fraud thing always bothered me when you hear these stories about charter boats. Some guy comes down from Michigan and he catches a really nice 40-pound cobia, and he's told, "Wow, these are just saltwater catfish."
Sure.
Or we've all heard those stories.
Absolutely, tons of them. Tons of
they
them.
should get, and then forcing them to mount fish and killing them, and then there's the shark guys.
That's the mount thing. Yeah, you had a full moon on that with Sewell fishing out of the West Coast too, like.
Oh,
I mean, when you guys were fishing at night, I remember you guys had that moon coming right off the horizon. That one must have been pretty cool.
Those muttons cranked so good.
Yeah.
And then there was a funny line in the show. I don't know if you caught that. Because, he's not, he takes people out. He's not used to actually fishing himself. And it was such an incredible bite that he's huffing and puffing and he's fighting. And I made that one line, and when he's hooked up to a mutton, I said, what do you think's going to come up first, that mutton or that moon?
Yeah.
And it was just, but that bite was
funny.
We stopped. We limited out.
Is that the guy with the dog?
Yeah,
on
with
the
little dog. Yeah,
the dog drove me crazy.
I bet. I knew he did. I knew he did. Yep. I said the same thing.
I'm an animal lover, so I don't want to look like I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, but you're cutting a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would have been like, sorry, dude, I'm not bringing the dog.
Well, what happened, I was never told about it.
Oh, really?
So we're all set. We show up at the boat.
Just stowaway.
At 3 in the afternoon to leave. And here comes the guy, and here comes the dog. Brr, jumping around. So I'm thinking, okay, the dog just got in the car. He's saying goodbye to his master.
Yeah.
And then, all right, let's go. And I'm looking, your dog's here. Oh, he goes with us. So what are you going to say? You're there.
You guys are like 80 miles out, aren't you?
65.
Well, if you run out of bait, I mean, wait.
This dog, wanted to fight and bite at every turn of the corner. And it never liked me. And he looked at me, and I look at him, and I look at him too long.
I thought he was going to fall in the water. He kept jumping up on the gunnel and running down towards the live well.
It's like a cat. It's on the gunnels. I'm hooking up, and it runs on the gunnels, and it tries to snap at your reel. So I'm intentionally standing a good foot back. I'm afraid I'm going to bump the dog.
I was going to say, did it fall in the water at all?
No.
I couldn't believe it.
Because we're at anchor. Yeah. And if this dog had fallen overboard,
Sharks.
I'm not going in after
who's going in?
The dog is toast.
All right,
it's got to be Matt, right?
I have a new puppy who is out of control. I mean, like that dog. And he runs in my yard chasing lizards and everything. And I live on a canal. I keep this big giant net on the dock just in case, because if he goes in.
But
That's always been a freak out thing with me, like living on the water like that. You know what I mean? About the dogs falling in. Yeah.
But look at offshore where we were. You have the tide, you're at anchored, you're at night. We had all those porpoises hanging around the boat.
Yeah.
That dog would have fallen over. They'd been playing a ball with it. It'd be like a Baltus aquarium going all over the place.
Yeah, they'll T-bone them. Just keep.
But that was a first. We come back
he didn't seem worried about that, huh?
No, he said the dog is like a cat, and I got to give him credit. That thing had moves like a cat.
Really?
And it gripped like a cat. And then the bad thing, you come to the end of the night and you're cleaning your snap, there are all bite marks all over him. Every time you get him, he's trying to bite him through the net.
Yeah.
That was a little bizarre on that. It was a little on the edge of that dog, but it made for a good show, I guess.
I don't know, man. I was looking at that's like you said. All I could think of was, man, but I bet you that's driving towards.
I could tell that he was stressed out. I was stressed out.
The question is, would he have edited that out?
If he fell
in? Been part of the show. If the dog would have gone in.
No, that would have helped our
That would have
ratings.
definitely gone in.
That would have been great.
Right.
Would have definitely
They would
gone
have found
in.
the dog off of Galveston, Texas.
Facebook Live.
That was a long run, right?
That was the most beautiful night.
Yeah.
It was 65 miles. We limited out. We had pulled anchor to go back at like 12:30, 1 in the morning, but it was such a perfect night. It was
It was like slick calm out that day.
One of the most perfect nights that I can remember in recent memory, where we just took off and we're running back. The captain was worn out. He's sitting back there in the beanbag with the dog.
Are you running full speed at night?
No, not that.
That makes me
We
nervous.
got the radar on. We got the radar dialed in to like less than a quarter of a mile, just in case there's some small little boat that shouldn't be out there. And, killing all the lights in your boat. The electronics are in those night mode. And the beauty is, when you have that trail feature on your electronics, we use that a ton for fishing to know where you've been and the coverage. But I had that activated when I left the marina, and coming back at night, you just put yourself real tight on that mark. And you come all the way back in the dark. You follow that trail right through the skinny waters. You're trying to get to the pass to come on in. And it was the most remarkable night. I looked at Kevin Tierney, who was one of our producers on the show and not in the camera boat. He's in our boat. I looked at him about 20 miles off and said, what a remarkably beautiful night. We had to just turn back around, make another lap because it's so nice. But it was a beautiful night.
Well, speaking of electronics, you have Simrad?
Yes.
And so do I. You got to come over sometime because the bird feature, the bird mode. I don't know what I'm looking at because I'm offshore. I got every mark is a bird. I don't know, and we're chasing dots. Okay. Making me crazy.
I don't want to eat up time. I'm going to give you a super crash course. Right. Is to be effective with the bird mode. I always set mine out a 2-mile limit, maybe 3. And the reason I do that is because when you see the birds working, you still have to get to them. A lot of times these feeding blitzes occur and they're gone very fast. So if you see birds 8 miles out and if it's rough, by the time you get out there, it's going to be over. So you set your outer limit 2 miles, maybe 3. And the trick is, first off, you got to push the bird mode button, make sure you're in that mode, is you watch the little specks that appear, that you're watching as birds. When the antenna makes the sweep, you watch them. If they're here on one sweep, another couple sweeps are here, another couple sweeps are over here, they're looking like you are, so you don't give chase. But if the antenna sweeps around several times and that spot or 2 spots or 3 are sitting right in that same spot, go for it because they're on something. They're stationary.
And those are definitely birds?
Yes.
Because half the time
you could sell the small, when they're 2 or 3 birds, they're little faint blue specks. But when you have a large gathering of birds like you would in skipjacks, you see the big reds because they're a thicker return. But that's the whole key. The key is making sure that the birds are remaining in place and that you have a 2-mile deal and not much further. So when you see it, you can sit there and race and hammer that boat and get to where you need to be.
I think that was good good knowledge.
Yeah,
I'm going to use it.
100%. Yeah, I was glued to that for sure.
I have you talk about running at night using electronics. Mm-hmm. I was in the Abacos coming back to the States, and I was with my son at the time. It was 8, and the storm came up, and I remember going, and it was bad. The lightning was next to the boat, and it's one of those things where you go, well, gosh, I don't want to. Now, that was my old contender, had a cabin on board.
Those moments freak me out.
Me too.
Yeah.
And so I put him down in the cabin, and I looked at the radar, and it said the storm said it was 2 miles, and it was really bad. I don't know if I did the right thing, but there was no boats out there, and I hammered it, and I just ran blind. It was a whiteout. and I ran blind for those 2 miles
to
get through the storm.
Okay.
And I don't know if I did the right thing or if I should have just gone slow, but I wanted to get away.
You must have been freaking out.
Oh.
I mean, that's when you like full attention, like
I couldn't
sharp.
see anything an inch in front of my face. I was looking at the radar. There were no boats in the, you know how it is on the Bahama Bank when there's nothing out there. Mm-hmm. But it was scary.
Well, my theory on that, when you're running the radar, is when you see that wall that you have to get through, the radar gives you the ability to pick the narrowest bands of the storm. You try to punch your way through there. The worst thing that you could do is try to linger near the edges where all that electricity is. Sometimes it's better if you have no choice, you punch through and you get deep into that where the cool temperatures take over and you're not mixing the cold and the warm on the fringes where you could get hit with these lightning bolts. So sometimes it's better to get into that stuff than try to run around on fringes. I remember a story. I had Harry Vernon with me. We were shooting a show off of Bimini. Gorgeous bluebird day. And in the afternoon, you see all this black building up. But we didn't care because that was away from Bimini. You know, we had a clear run to Bimini. We're about 40 miles away. And it kept encroaching. And it was about 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. We had had a good day. So I said, Harry, okay, this stuff is getting close here. Let's pick our lines up. We told the camera boat, go ahead. We'll meet you back at Big Game Club. We'll take the lines up, put the riggers in the whole bit, and we'll meet up with you. So by the time that we got running that storm, it was behind us, but we had clean blue skies. So we're running, and it was flat. We're hauling. We're like 45 or so miles an hour. And I'm on the wheel. I'm on my mat. One hand on my steering wheel, the other hand on the throttle. Harry has his left foot on my mat, his right foot on the deck, and he's holding the T-top stanchion. As we're running, I remember to my left, might have been 20 feet, a bright white flash on the water, and instantaneously, by the time that your brain processed, like, what is that? A loud bam. I had a shock. Go through my left hand up to my shoulder. Harry backs, did you feel that? I got shocked. Whoa. He got a shock from his right arm down through his right leg, which was not on the mat. I got the shock because I had that metal steering wheel, but the throttles are plastic, so I didn't get a shock there. So I hit those throttles. We kept going. So when we got far enough ahead, I said, I'm telling you, we got our antennas blown off or some rods. So we finally stopped to get up and look. Everything was perfect. It just hit the water, and some of that electricity transferred to the boat, and we were ahead of that darkness. And we got back to the dock. We told everybody that story, and they said, well, what happened to your boat? Anything happened to electronics? I said, that boat, yes, never ran as fast as it ever did in its entire life. But seriously, that was a scary deal.
Yeah.
In a clear part, 20 feet away, that lightning bolt had hit the water.
Yeah.
That's
always my biggest fear. I have a huge fear of lightning. I really do.
Like you have no recourse.
Rough seas, rain. You dial in, you pick your groove, you get through that. Mm-hmm. The lightning is a flip of a coin. You don't know if and when it's going to get you. If it does, what does it hit? What does it do?
That's the thing.
That having my kid, letting him use a boat in the beginning, and being the dad on the phone going, "Come in now." I'm looking at we're fine. Oh, that stress.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there's been days you come in the inlet and you got to idle through, and you just see curtains of lightning just coming down. You're just like,
I told him one time he was in Lake Boca with the boat, and he said the lightning was, and I was screaming at him. He had kids on board, and I go, he goes, I'm in Lake Boca. I go, floor it.
Yeah.
I go, I don't want you guys. I'll pay the ticket. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of rods vibrating.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like with that buzzing noise.
That's
when you hear the buzzing noise, you go.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a weird feeling when you're out. You're coming back usually, and all of a sudden it goes from being 80 degrees to 50 degrees, and bad things are happening.
Right.
I know. When we were coming back one time,
it's here.
Trying to come back from Bimini or maybe West End, wherever we were, and I remember trying to get back, and it was. Everything was coming from the south, and there was nothing in the forecast, but it was so rough that I couldn't run. And then a front came through, and I remember I said, "Let me just leave my wife a message on the sat phone, let her know we're going to be really late because it's just slow going." So It was so windy that all she heard was. She's called all our friends.
Oh my God. The Coast Guard.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, God. Anyway.
That's when you get very close with your ACR EPIRB at that point in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because that thing could be if something really bad
You
happens.
start going, okay, come here.
And people
Here
think,
we
well,
go.
your EPIRB is, well, that's if your boat sinks or if it's really nasty and you get capsized, but we don't go out in rough seas. What a lot of people don't understand with an EPIRB, if you have a medical emergency, say you're fishing with somebody, drop of a heart attack on that boat, and medical emergency, you hit that EPIRB to get that person off the boat. A lot of people don't think about that.
You know what? I had Tiny Wildcat on the show recently to tell the story of the rapscallion, the hijacking, right? Excellent episode if you guys haven't seen it yet. Incredible. But he told me after the show, he goes, do you realize, and maybe you can give me clarification on this, that if a fire starts in your boat and then someone else puts it out, that person can technically lay claim to your boat.
What?
I hear there's a weird law about it.
Can't be.
There's something.
You know how many of my friends we
There's
start fires
something
on
to
my
that. That's what I'm
boat?
saying. I don't think they can independently start the fire, but there is some sort of weird bylaw about that.
Really?
I wanted to ask you about that to see if you ever heard anything like
I'm not an
that.
attorney. I don't profess to be an attorney, but I throw the BS flag down on that.
Yeah, I don't think
not
so.
buying that one.
All right. I'm gonna.
And I'm probably 100% wrong.
Tiny's a very reputable guy. I'm gonna do some research on that, and
That just
then
it just sounds too
to be
weird.
determined. Yeah, no. He says that currently that the owner of the guy that owns that boat, that's how he acquired it down in Miami.
Don't let her.
And how about about that? I'm sure been there. You're halfway home from the Bahamas, and the storm's there.
Of course.
Have you ever had that? Like, do we go through it or do we go back? Have you
No.
ever gone back?
You can't go back. You got to get home. You don't want to spend all night out in the water. And
No, you go back to Bimini and say,
you're-
sorry, honey, I can't come home. I got
Well, that's another story all into itself. But because, where that comes into play, you're thinking, well, if I go back to Bimini, we'll wait it out, let those afternoon storms burn out, and at night it's nice and cool, you can run back. So you have that option. But most of the time, like I said, the radar, you pick your spots or whatever, and you just push and you get yourself through it. That's
had to leave
what
my
I
boat.
do most of the time.
Years ago, I took the boat over to Cat Key, and we had one great fishing day, caught some nice grouper, some mahi, and then we ended up having to leave the boat and fly home. We had to charter a plane because it blew for 3 weeks.
Well, that's a different
and
story.
It was like 15-foot seas, and finally I got a window. All right. Nobody could go. My wife said, I'll go back. I'll go over with you. So we flew to Cat Key, and it was great. It was one of the best weekends we ever had as a husband and wife. We stayed on the boat. I had a little cabin on the thing, and we fished. We were yellowtailing and caught a bunch of mutton snapper, the whole thing. And then Easter Sunday, we go head home, and we're on our way back, and there's a weed line, and I look at her, and we're supposed to go to my mother-in-law's house for Easter. And I'm like, it's really nice looking weed line. and we get right past
A nervous
it.
laugh.
And she goes, you're going to kick yourself there might be something big there. Go ahead and just troll by it one time. And we caught a white marlin.
Whoa.
And yes. And she goes, now look, I'm going to drive the boat, but you can't yell at me. You need to remain calm. This is early in our marriage. You know how you get crazy on a boat sometimes.
No, I don't understand anything about it.
It's because your wife does not go on the boat.
That's why.
So, we got the marlin, a beautiful release, and Florida Sport Fishing put me on the cover. That was going back a couple of years.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Excellent.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool.
True story.
Yeah, very cool. So you're wrapping up your 21st season now? Or
On World Saltwater Fishing television show, yes, this past Sunday was our last episode for our 21st season. Now, starting next Sunday on Discovery Channel, they run what they call the encore performances, which is basically a fancy word for reruns. Because the shows, we run them first quarter, the originals, and then they re-air each original once during the second quarter. So next Sunday, Discovery Channel, our encore performances of World of Saltwater Fishing will begin and run through quarter two.
Right.
Then we have, as we talked about before, the Saltwater Sportsman Seminar Series. Year 34 is now. But we canceled the ground tour due to COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So in order to keep us consistent, it's year 34, we don't want to break it up. We didn't want to do Zoom meetings and all that stuff. So we decided, So make it a television series.
Okay.
We shot this at IGFA in mid-February. 13 episodes, 13 half-hour episodes, geared to national TV. So the seminar series, television, begins airing starting this Thursday is April 1st, right?
Yes.
Thursday, April 1st, which is fitting for the seminar series day,
Yes.
Fool's Day. 7:30 at night on World Fishing Network. Then it airs 3 times over the weekend. Then on the weekend, Discover America airs it Saturdays at 8 in the morning, Sundays at
But will my
9.
DVR automatically record it since I have it set to tape all your World of Saltwater Fishing?
Okay, now, do you have stream any Samsung channels or anything like that?
I don't know.
Okay, if you don't have the channels to pick it up, you go to YouTube.
Oh.
And I'm going to post the shows as soon as we break them on George Poveromo TV, my YouTube channel.
Wait, so we don't have to pay anymore to go to the seminars? We just get them free on TV?
Not this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So what I was getting at was, I remember with the COVID thing, you wanted to do this last season all in South Florida to kind of avoid any.
Well, no, you're
with the
confused.
traveling.
That was with a television series.
That's what I'm talking about. The television series. So you're coming up on the new TV series.
So
coming
we start traveling
soon.
again.
So that's what I'm getting
Starting
at.
the end of April, we
so
start
can you
shooting
let
for
us in on some of your
2022.
plans?
Yeah, we go to
absolutely.
Abacos. You're going to make the Abacos? Come on.
That's what I'm trying to draw out of you. That's what I was trying to get out of you. What's going on with that season? Because now you're going to get out of South Florida, right?
Absolutely. We're going to do we're going to do the Florida Keys shows because obviously the fishing there, but we're going to pick up the shows that we had to cancel from last season. We'll be up at Long Island. We're going to send
you are going to go to
my
Long
boat
Island
up there for catching yellowfin tuna on poppers.
Oh, wow.
We'll be doing
Very
that.
cool.
We're going to swing by Jersey, get a show in Jersey. June, we're off of North Carolina. We'll have a Gulf of Mexico show in.
You need to come to Maine, where I spend my summers every year.
My first year
I know.
on television, we shot a show at Booth Bay Harbor, Maine.
Yeah.
With Barry Gibson, who was the then editor of Saltwater Sportsman magazine.
One of these days, I'm going to get you up there.
Let me know when it's all hot and this and that, because we do need to travel it around. So we will definitely be getting on the go.
Well, the accommodations are lovely.
Of course. And in the company, you can't beat the company.
Well, I'm pretty good.
You are not
and we
bad.
get mussels in my backyard. Oh, yeah. Well, listen, I got a little cottage up there.
It's too tempting.
It's on Casco Bay. And one day I'm walking, we bought the house 12, 15 years ago. And I meet the neighbor, and I see her on her hands and knees at the shoreline on the rocks. And she's moving around all the seaweed. And I go, what are you doing? She lifts up the seaweed, and there's mussels. Fresh, big, beautiful Casco Bay mussels.
There has to be a big difference between eating them fresh and what you're getting in restaurants. Do you notice a difference?
I think the ones you get in the restaurant are farm raised.
Right.
Mostly, which, by the way, they're grown right there in the bay, but they're grown on ropes. I have chef friends, so I'm like, what do I do with all these mussels? It's amazing. You just reach in, pick them up, you scrub them a little bit. Now this bit, it's a lot of work. You scrub them, you got to pull the beards off them, and then you cook. I mean, you can go buy them for pennies. Like the clammers up there, the steamer clams, we get them in my backyard.
And I love those
at low tide.
Oh.
So I'm like,
I love
steamers.
Yep, me too.
I'm gonna get some steamers, and I bought the waders, and I bought the rake and the whole thing. I remember the first day I threw that. I go, I see the guy coming by. I go, I want to get some clams. He goes, well, if you leave a $20 bill on your dock tonight, I'll give them all you can eat. And I'm like, I break my back for $20 a year. Take the money.
Well, I'll throw this one out here, and everybody can chime in on this one too. Okay. And I'll state I'm a native South Floridian. Okay. What do you prefer between a fresh caught Florida lobster or a fresh caught Maine lobster to eat? Which is your favorite between the two?
See, I'm glad you're bringing this up
This
because
is
I
a great
completely
conversation.
forgot to ask anybody for strange questions today. So
I was going to say,
We're putting up on our own.
Opportunities to break into the stream.
I think since I own a home in Maine
I
and
know
I
where
grew
we're
up
going. Yeah.
diving for lobsters in South Florida,
right,
I think I have the definitive answer.
you'd be a little bit of a connoisseur on it.
Well,
Yeah.
and I fought tooth and nail for years that the Florida lobster was superior, but I've changed my tune.
Oh my goodness.
The Maine lobster meat is so succulent and sweet, and there's never been a toughness to it that I think it wins out. The
Really?
claws, the meat in the claws is ridiculous. And a baked, stuffed Maine lobster with the Ritz cracker and the crab meat that they do up there, like a 2.5 pounder. Hard to beat.
So,
I got to vote with Paul. I mean, you get the perfectly cooked Florida lobster, whether it's boiled or broiled, it's sensational.
Mm-hmm.
But for all the reasons that you said, the Maine lobster, for the sweetness of it all.
Yeah.
And plus, it's almost mentally, you've got a bonus because then when you're done with the tail, you got the claws.
Claws, yeah.
Yeah. That's true. But don't they classify, though, technically a Florida spiny lobster as a crawfish?
Because it does not have claws.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I don't think
it's a spiny lobster.
It's spiny,
I'm assuming they're in the same
it's
genus.
It's kind of half of, I heard that somewhere before, and half of asking you guys. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever heard that too. I'm going to put that in the same
category of putting someone's boat out on fire and then claiming it. I don't know.
Now, that being said,
I'm full of the strange questions today, apparently.
And me being a Stu, I literally own half of South Florida boats at this point.
Well, what's your opinion? What's your opinion?
Yeah, what's your
the
thought
lobster
on
or the
Maine lobster or Florida?
Or the spiny?
I don't know. See, I honestly think it's all about how you cook it because I've had some incredible Maine lobster.
But you're avoiding the flesh.
And I've also had some really crappy
You have
Maine
to
lobster.
pick one.
I have to stick with my South Florida peeps, man. I am going South Florida. And I also wanted to throw in another species because I don't know if y'all have ever had slipper lobster.
Yes.
yeah, I've
No,
caught
I haven't.
Slipper is extremely sweet. I mean, I think that is definitely more of your Maine lobster, but I am sticking with my South Florida.
You know what else
I am
is
not going to get picked off today by any angry mobs.
You know what else is extremely sweet is that octopus tattoo.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that.
Thank you.
Let me give you
thank
you like octopus?
Yes.
best.
Andy's Live Fire Grill, which it used to be Ernie's. Remember Ernie's
Yeah,
in Fort
sure.
Lauderdale? Well, Anthony Bruno bought it.
That's
redid
right.
it, and they've got this grill there. And so he does this octopus in a cast iron skillet.
Remarkable.
It will make you cry.
Yeah.
It is like I would drive you guys right there just so you can taste it. It's
Where
that
is this
good.
now?
Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, Andy's Live Fire Grill.
Easy.
Yeah, it used to be Ernie's. Ernie's was a legendary place that kind of felt
Dirty Ernie's.
Dirty Ernie's, right? So Anthony bought the place and he went in and he was like, "Oh God!" But it's got a great upstairs bar in it. But that I don't know what they do with the octopus, but it's so good.
So
All
I
right,
got an idea.
Would you rather eat shrimp?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. This is our. You got to put our strange questions logo up before this segment.
Right.
Here,
All right,
I'm
you got a
telling
big
this,
bowl
we're
of
asking our own
shrimp?
selves.
Yes.
Or a big bowl of crawfish?
Okay. Now I'm gonna dissect this even more.
All right.
If those shrimp happen to be Key West pinks that you just gave a guy a bottle of Pilar. Well, actually, I'll put it this way: you give him the traditional case of beer when you're getting the shrimp boat trash, but you give him a case of beer, tell him to give you some shrimp to take back.
Oh.
We did that recently, and I showed him a bottle of Papa's Pilar. What that was going to get me, I almost got the shrimp boat with that bottle of Papa's Pilar. But we got 3 giant bags, already cleaned and everything.
Yeah, that's pretty
They were
significant.
For a bottle of
sensational.
rum?
Yeah,
Oh,
only
man.
because I didn't want I didn't anybody drive the boat back, the shrimp boat back to the dock.
You know, I've never done that where you pull up to the shrimp boat. Are they okay with you pulling up?
Oh yeah, because yeah, and you just did the traditional deals. You bring them some case of cheap beer, and they'll give you the trash.
Yeah.
So this time of the year, where the blackfins are going crazy, you start just throwing the trash because the fish are up there feeding on it, and then you get your blackfins. Then, if you want to sweet talk, some of the boats do it, and some won't do it. It all depends what you have to offer them. But Bottles Papa's Pilar rules out there, and they'll give you, and you have to ask them, hey, do you have any clean, process that they have in there? And if they do, and they want to, and you talk to the captain, and they work a deal with you, you just
What about
make
cocktail
the trade
sauce?
out.
Do they have the cocktail sauce?
No, you got to bring that yourself.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Panama. I haven't been down there,
I
but
haven't been down there yet.
when you fish, they leave the dock in the morning with a little thing of soy sauce and a little wasabi. And as soon as you catch a yellowfin, they cut the loin out and they chill it.
That's
and
amazing.
a couple hours later, I mean, it is just there's nowhere on the planet where you're eating fresher fish. Obviously, if you caught it, you're eating it.
Right.
Yeah. They use a rusty knife. They
God,
carve it.
that's so good.
But going back to what you're saying with the
shrimp or
crawfish
crawfish,
now, and I'm going to define that a little bit on the trips that we've done down to Venice, Louisiana. If you get the fresh, the selects, those are the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you get those absolutely fresh and you cook them. That's a tough race right there between the two of them. I don't know.
I like me a good mojo shrimp. I really do. But,
the
it's
best.
it's tough for me to get past that one right there. I don't know.
How about a little shrimp scampi? Come on, Paisan.
All right.
I love the
I'll
shrimp
throw one
scampi.
more out there since we're on the topic.
I like little Carlucci's right around here, right down here on the beach.
never
They
been there.
make a good shrimp scampi. This little place right here on the beach.
Shrimp toast,
Yeah.
breaded shrimp, fried shrimp.
That's it.
You got
One
Forrest
more
Gump.
challenge here.
All right.
Arby's roast beef or Burger King Whaler?
You know,
Whaler.
I've never eaten fish at a fast food restaurant. I can't do it, but
I wouldn't do it.
I'm a fan of the Arby's,
No.
man. Arby's roast beef and cheddar, not a bad sandwich.
It really isn't.
I don't think it's roast beef, but it looks
No,
like
but it's
well, I'm not sure what it is.
whatever it is, it tastes
They
pretty
don't taste
good.
bad, yeah.
Especially when you're really hungry.
Oh man, which is it now?
Well, listen. If I can convince you guys to ever come back, and I know you're pressed for time here on this one today. I'd love to have your Ernie buddy bring in that octopus.
Oh, that would be
yeah,
outstanding.
For that Friday night
Absolutely.
special.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how it travels, but
You don't have to travel
Let's
down
have
the
them come in.
street.
They'll bring up some sternos. They'll bring it in. We'll do it right.
well, we're
It's not going to crawl on the
You're right.
highway. Somebody can transport it. You can Uber it over.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right.
you got to go.
I'm waiting for you guys to say goodbye. I mean, I'm going to take a sip of some hand.
I have a problem with the goodbye thing. So.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's awkward to end a podcast, no matter
Right.
what you do.
But I got my thing I do, but we don't have to do it just yet. I don't know. George and I pondered just letting you go and just hanging out and
Well,
drinking.
because now I'm paranoid that you're going to talk about me.
Oh, you are too. As soon as that door closes.
I can take a seat.
All right. Well,
All right.
I mean, I would love to come back to, but I want to do it properly. I don't want to do it on a Monday. I want to do it on a weekend or a Friday. All right, you know what I can do?
All these big celebrities are so picky, aren't they?
Can I tell you?
I
Listen,
got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. Believe me. A Thursday. All right, Thursday's good.
No. We'll do it. Listen,
No, I like cocktails on a Thursday. That's good.
we can listen. This is how we can do it. Now I can tell you the reason that we do this on the record on a Monday.
Yeah.
It's because the store is closed. I don't have to worry about people coming because right
Yeah.
now we have to do it from the store.
I didn't think
So I'm like, all right, we got to do it on a Monday.
That
You know
makes
what I mean?
sense.
So we're going to do it then. But if you want to do it on a Friday, we could just lock the doors at 6 and then just do our thing. You know
After
what I mean?
hours.
And we can bring in
After
food.
hours.
We could do a whole damn thing. Yeah, I got no problem with that.
That could
Now-
be very dangerous.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
Honey, were you coming home? I don't know. Am I?
Somebody came up with the idea
There's
that
a
I
night
should sell
kingfish
tickets
fight
to
going
this
on right
thing
now. It's
and
incredible.
serve dinner over
Oh
there
my
at
God,
tables
do
and
a
people
live
eat while
audience.
we're podcasting. I thought that'd be kind of weird
Live
for
studio
us.
audience
Live
is always,
studio audience.
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah.
You got to wait till the COVID's over.
Yeah, you gotta wait till the COVID's over.
Yeah.
So they opened up the 40-year-old.
Yeah, go.
Yeah,
Today,
you got your 2 shots.
I'm good to
My
go.
we gotta
second
go
one
to
is Friday.
Walgreens, not Publix.
Yeah.
For
And I get in the arguments
Broward
with these
and Dade.
people that go, hey, I'm not getting that thing. I don't know if I'm going to grow a horn in my head. I'm like, what the? No one grows
Oh,
horns.
you said it on your show. The
Yeah.
guy was talking about that. Who is that said that?
I can't say his name.
You can't say what it is.
He works for Papa's Pilar, though.
Hey, by the way, I'm very upset that the Love Boat just dropped out in the first round of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I was. We're doing the.
I don't even know what you're
all right, you know
talking
what
about.
March,
We're doing a bracket.
you know what
Wait,
March
was that
Madness
code?
is?
Yes.
All right, so we did a companion event, TV theme song showdown, and in our brackets we have TV theme songs. So, like Beverly Hillbillies against I Love Lucy kind of
Okay.
thing. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're gonna whittle it down.
It's actually been a genius freaking couple of weeks with
it's
what
kind
they've
of
been
fun
doing. Yeah,
because it's
awesome.
nostalgic.
It's the
You
best
know?
part of actually me living out west and working here now is that I actually get to listen to your show now.
Good.
Before I was only 5 minutes from the studio. I wouldn't. If I had a commercial break, I was screwed.
Let me think of what today it was. Here's another one. Miami Vice theme. It won. It beat. Was it the Love Boat that it beat?
No, Love Boat got
No.
knocked out by Scooby Doo
Oh
in
no!
the
It's
first
today.
round.
Today it's Cops, against I Love Lucy.
Right.
A Brady Bunch against
Andy
Andy
Griffith.
Griffith.
Who do you think's winning that Andy Griffith Brady Bunch one?
I'll look it
I
up
think
right
it's
now.
Andy Griffith. I think just
Barely.
people like Andy so much, they're going to go with him.
Barely
Well-
skinning it out.
No,
I know who Paul's voting for because he kept stalking her. Wasn't that the one for the Brady Bunch you stalked?
Marsha?
I was a fan of Marsha Brady. I did not stalk her.
No, that was the Partridge Family. What we
Laura-
talked about
that
the
was
last
Shirley
time.
Jones.
Shirley
Yeah.
Jones.
Oh,
Okay.
That's
Shirley
hilarious. All right, let me pull it up here. All right, let's see what's going on. That's hilarious. All right.
Yeah.
That should be more like Miami Vice
I've been
versus
getting
the
so
Man
into
from
this damn
Uncle.
bracket
Who
that
remembers
he's
the
doing
Man
on the
from
show.
Uncle show?
How old are you?
Right there with you. Okay, I got you by 2 years. Of,
Yeah, tweets aren't loading right now. There we go. Okay. All right. Are you ready for the update? Currently, Cops is beating I Love Lucy 52 to 48%. Bad boys.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? And then
How's Andy doing?
he's getting pummeled by the
Really?
Brady Bunch. Yeah. Here's a story.
Is he getting pummeled?
Yeah,
I thought he
pummeled.
was in the lead
He
for a little
was.
bit.
Things change, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah. Vote early and often.
No one's beating Cheers, by the way.
You all know how that goes.
But
Cheers could be in
no
the
one's
final
beating
four.
Cheers. But have you ever heard the entire lyrics to that song?
Now, which
Yeah,
one?
Suicide is Painless.
No. Cheers. The Cheers song.
Cheers. Oh, that's MASH.
Yeah, that's Suicide is Painless.
Yeah.
Isn't it? But have you listen? Because this is actually a funny thing. Because I listened to the song on Spotify within the last 6 months with a buddy of mine, and we were like, "Wait a minute, that what did he just say that?" So everyone knows what Cheers says, like making your way in the world today. You know what I mean? So right, theme song, Cheers lyrics. Would you like to get away? Right, where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
Right, and I can't really play the song because of copyright YouTube reasons, right?
Then what are we doing?
Yeah.
So, no, but then there's all those nights when you've got no lights, the check is in the mail, and your little angel hung up the cat by its tail, and your third fiance didn't show.
That's
It's like-
the extra. Those are extra
You're-
lyrics.
Those are the extra lyrics. And
Good.
then-
Yeah.
Check is in the mail.
Right, and then roll out of bed, Mr. Coffee's dead, the morning's looking bright, and your shrink ran off to Europe and didn't even write, and your husband wants to be a girl.
I think you and I could become songwriters.
Wait, rewind.
Yeah.
And your
What was
husband
that
wants to be a
last line?
girl.
Yes. So sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name and all your troubles are, whatever. Right? If you roll out of bed, Mr. Coffee's dead, the morning's looking bright, and your shrink ran off to Europe and didn't even write, and your husband wants to be a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody
And that
knows
bar,
you.
the Bull and the Finch in Boston, shut
Yeah.
down last year.
Really did
Little
it?
known. That's my stat of the day as we wrap.
Really?
What was
Yeah,
it?
they shut down the bar that Cheers was based on.
It shut down?
Yeah, they shut it down. COVID.
So,
Wow.
COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
COVID.
all right. Well, thanks for entertaining me looking up the lyrics of Cheers. But
Until next week.
until next week, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in once
Always-
again.
always an honor.
It's really always a pleasure. Thank you for drinking a couple of
Get all our
rums
plugs in.
with
Did we get
me
all our
and-
plugs in?
No, we didn't. So I'm going to say
about
that
to-
we're
there
going
you
to
go.
thank.
No,
We're going
yeah,
to thank.
We'll be out of here in a half hour now.
There we go.
We're going to thank
I
Joey
was
Cardi
thinking-
Chrysler for being the headline sponsor of our show. And if you're in the market for a new truck or vehicle, you want a Jeep, you want a Dodge, you want a Ram, you want one of those new SRV-T Hellcats or something like that, they got all that over at Joey Cardi. If you're thirsty, go grab a drink from our good friends at Papa's. They just released the sherry cask not too long ago, and I want to just make sure everybody realizes that one of the unique things about Papa's Pilar is that normally the rum is housed in bourbon casks, but this sherry cask is a very special edition that is housed in casks
And
of
if
sherry.
you mention Paul Castronovo at the distillery in Key West, you get the free tour. They give you you get to do the whole rum tour for free. How about
Really?
that? I imagine Poveromo gets it too, eh?
I need to have
You
a
get the same
talk.
deal?
Yeah, plus we give him a free bottle of rum, so I went up. Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Oh, you're going to get killed, dude.
I'm saying.
All right.
And you get a shirt. No,
We're
Now,
at
I want to hear,
Hey.
since this is like the closing
I
here,
gotta go.
I want to hear about your Connected by Water sushi roll. And that's coming up next, isn't
I
it?
have the Connected by Water sushi
Okay.
menu at the Papa's Raw Bar.
Oh, I got one here.
Right. So you
I want
got
that,
the
man.
roll. I got the
my
whole
roll,
damn
yeah.
menu. All right. So
I got
there you go.
Paulie's Pokey.
Is that on the Connected by Water sushi menu?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
All right, now
there
here's the part where he closed it. This is like a Sunday service at a church or something. Go ahead.
Yeah, do that thing.
Here we go.
Your
It gets
ego-
really zen-like with this
Does
one.
Your ego is not your amigo.
Oh, wow.
Always do
Ooh.
your best and then just let God do the rest.
Now, is it
Right.
time to accept
love
Holy
it.
Communion?
Yes, it is. It is. We just did our
Can
church
you help an
announcements.
old altar boy, Father? My exorcist moment. Can you help an old altar boy?
And don't ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're always connected by water.
Another awesome one. Thank you.
Thank you,
for the
gentlemen.
invite.
George
Appreciate it.
Poveromo.
Paul.
They're not booing. They're saying George.
I thought they were saying Paul.
They say Ringo.